Hey there, everyone, and welcome to SOC 225, Social Diversity. For those of you I haven't had in class before, I'm April Pittman, and I'm your instructor for this course. And I know I promised this video on Monday, but several things came up, and so now it's Wednesday, and I'm finally getting to it. But I wanted to have a few things ready for you before I posted the video, so I could give you as much information as possible as we're getting started with the semester. So it looks like, for the most part, you guys are finding your way around our course area in Moodle. When you log into Moodle and come to our course area, of course, initially you're brought to the Start Here page. And on the Start Here page, I have a little bit of information about the class, the fact that when we do meet on selected Mondays, we're going to be in G239, that's in Gwaltney Hall, so that's the main building where the business office and student services and all of that are. So we're just upstairs. But there are several things that you need to be working on. To begin with, of course, you need to take a look at the syllabus and carefully read over that. And so there are a few things I wanted to point out in the syllabus. First of all, there's a section in the contents area for syllabus, and when you click on that, you'll see that we now have the syllabus in a Moodle book format. So when you get to that page, you'll see that there are two primary chapters to the syllabus book. Information about this course, and then information about Mainland policies and resources. And while it's a good idea to read over those Mainland policies and resources, and I hope you will do that at some point, the things that are specific to this course are in this first chapter. And so I wanted to just highlight a few things here. First of all, the information about the course has the course name and number, and then down below that you'll find the course materials. What you need to know about course materials for this course is that you don't need to purchase anything. You don't need a book. I'm going to be making all of our readings available through links in Moodle, or in some cases I may send you to NC Live or send you to the library for reserves, but you don't need to purchase a book for this class. I'll refer to books, so I'll be referencing different books that some of your readings come from, and I'll be sharing some stuff from some books from time to time, but everything that you need to read for the course will be made available to you, again, either through Moodle, as far as links or documents, but also possibly NC Live and reserves. So below that, instructor information, that's information about where to find me, how to catch up with me, and that kind of thing. So email is a great way to get in touch with me. And when it comes to email, I do ask that you check your email regularly, because if I need to communicate with you, that's how I will communicate with you, through your Mainland email. And we also require that students communicate with us using their Mainland email as well. Below that contact information is a little bit of information about the class, the method of instruction. This is a hybrid class, which means that we have more online work than we do in-class work. And we're going to talk about those in-class days a little bit later. The student learning outcomes are there, both the ones that are specific to this class and our College Core outcomes, so you can read over those. But then if you scroll down below all of that, you'll find the methods of evaluation for this class. And so the methods of evaluation outlines what we have that you're going to be working on this semester, the different parts of your grade, the things that will make up your grade, and what each of those is worth towards the grade. And we're on a point system in this class, so each of your assignments is worth a certain number of points, And it's possible to earn up to 1,000 points in this class. So because we've got 1,000 points possible, and all of our classes at Mayland are on that 10-point or 10% scale, that means that in order to earn an A in the class, you need to earn at least 900 points. So any points, any point total between 900 and 1,000 is an A. 800 and 899 is a B. 700 and 799 is a C, and so on. So just below that, you'll see some information about, just some policies and procedures and that kind of thing. First of all, in terms of late and or makeup work, I don't really accept late or makeup work unless there's a situation that's pretty extreme and that you can document in some way. So for the most part, assignments will be available to you at least 2 weeks in advance of the deadline. Now, the exceptions to that are going to be here at the beginning of the semester. But after we get through week 2, everything should be available to you at least 2 weeks in advance of that deadline. So you can always work ahead at least a little bit, not too far ahead, but you can work ahead a little bit. Just be sure that you're keeping up with the assignment checklists for each week. But know that if you are asking to turn in something late, that you need to contact me in advance of the deadline well, we don't have exams in this class, but in advance of the deadline. And just know that I'll ask for some form of documentation for your reason for not being able to submit that on time. There's some stuff here on grading and how things count, assignments that are used towards your student learning or to assess student learning outcomes. And then this fifth item here is about generative AI. And there's actually some more information here about AI as well. In this class, the use of AI is not allowed. I want to know your thoughts. I'm not so concerned that you're writing in a super eloquent fashion. I just want to know that you are considering the different resources that I'm putting out there for you, that you're thinking about them, and then you're writing about what you're thinking about them. So, so no AI allowed in this class. Be sure that you are familiar with our student code of conduct and the discipline and appeals procedure for conduct violations and that kind of thing. That can all be found on the Mayland website. So be sure that you take a look at that and just be aware that AI is not allowed, or the use of AI is not allowed. So course withdrawals, there's some information about that here. The main thing that I want you to be familiar with, or I want you to be aware of related to withdrawal, is the administrative withdrawal policy at Mayland. Mayland has an administrative withdrawal policy that states that if a student has not been in class, has not participated for a 2-week period, the instructor is to administratively withdraw the student from that class. Now, of course, it's not a good idea to miss 2 weeks of class anyway, but if you do so, then you're at risk of being administratively withdrawn. And in this class, because it's a hybrid class and we're not going to meet every Monday, we're going to be meeting every other Monday, a big part of your attendance is going to be in the form of assignment submission. So making sure that you submit those weekly assignments. That's a big part of how I'll be taking attendance in this class this semester. And then if you scroll on down the page, you will get to the course schedule. And in the course schedule, you'll see our meeting dates and the the weeks, so week 1, week 2, and so on, and what the dates for those weeks are. You'll also see that some of those are designated as in-class and some of them are designated as online. At this point, I have January 13th, January 27th, February 10th, and so on, designated as in-class sessions, but we may need to change that up a little bit if we have further inclement weather like we had earlier this week. So I'll just keep you posted about that. That will be particularly the case as we get into the later part of February, March, and April. And hopefully by that point, a lot of our inclement weather will have passed. But it's at that point that we'll start doing student-led discussions. And so we really do need that class time for those student-led discussions. And I'll come back to those student-led discussions in a few minutes. But in addition to the meeting dates, in the course schedule, you'll also find your topics and a little bit of information about assignments, but you don't have a lot of detail here about readings and specific written assignments and things like that. You're going to find more detailed information like that in each of the weekly sections for the course. For each week, I will include an assignment checklist, and in that assignment checklist, I'll outline everything that you need to be doing that week. So you can use that as sort of a check sheet or just a list that you can mark stuff off on as you get it done. And you'll see a couple of examples of that immediately. First of all, in the Start Here section, I've got this little checklist, but then in the Week 1 section, there's a longer assignment checklist that includes the things that are in the Start Here section, but also some additional stuff that you need to be working on for Week 1. So if we go back to that Start Here section, of course, I've asked that you read through the course syllabus, that you complete the entry exercise, and that you complete all of the assignments in the Week 1 section of the course. And of course, the entry exercise is a very simple 3-question exercise that you need to complete. And you need to complete the entry exercise in order to have access to other parts of the course. So be sure that you do that as soon as possible. When you get to the end, when you answer all of those questions, be sure you click Submit All and Finish, and then again, Submit All and Finish, and you'll get to review your attempt and that kind of thing. But once you've done that, you'll have access to other parts of the course in Moodle, other sections in Moodle. In addition to the entry exercise, on the Start Here page, there's also an announcements forum, and this is where I will post announcements for you this semester. So just be sure that you're taking a look at that announcements forum regularly. But once you complete that entry exercise, then you can move on to Week 1. And the topic for Week 1, introductions, orientation, and sort of the basics. And all of the material in Week 1 is due on the 12th, with the exception of a discussion forum post that we'll talk about as we make our way through this list. But first of all, the syllabus, the entry exercise. Another thing I'm asking you to do is introduce yourself to the rest of the class in the introductions forum, and it looks like a number of you have done that already. There are some readings for you to do this week. In addition to the syllabus, I'm asking that you read Dimensions of Identity and Diversity and Getting Started with Difficult Conversations. So those are both things that are linked down here. I'm also asking that you read the Examples of Guidelines for Classroom Discussion document that is linked here as well. We'll be having classroom discussions both in the seated physical classroom and through discussion forums here in Moodle. And so because a lot of the topics that we're going to be talking about are what some people might call sensitive topics, or topics that people have pretty strong feelings about, it's important that we have respectful conversations. And so I'm asking that you come up with some guidelines, some ideas about how we should conduct ourselves in those conversations. So that's what you'll be doing in this forum. This forum, your forum assignment or discussion assignment for week 1 requires that you respond to a prompt about guidelines. So read the example of guidelines for classroom discussion document and that Getting Started with Difficult Conversations document. And as you read those, I want you to be thinking about some guidelines that you think would be important for us as we're having these conversations. And so that's what I'm asking you to write about in your response to the prompt. And I'm asking that you respond to the prompt by 11:59 p.m. on Friday of this week. But then I've also asked that you read the responses of your classmates and then respond to at least 2 of those. And your responses to your classmate posts should be completed by 11:59 p.m. on the 12th. So I put your response to the prompt, I make it due a couple of days earlier because we want to be sure that people have stuff in there to read and respond to. We're kind of a small class. I think the last time I looked, we had 9 people registered. And so we really need to have people submitting, and so that folks will have something to respond to in these different forums. Now, one other thing I want to mention about the forums, the Q&A forums are set up so that you can't respond or you can't read what other people have posted until you respond to the prompt. So you need to respond to the prompt before you'll be allowed to read other people's posts. But with these forums in Moodle, there is an editing delay, a 30-minute editing delay. And that 30-minute editing delay means that once you post your response, it doesn't actually get published for 30 minutes to give you time to go back and edit if you want to. And so what that means is Moodle doesn't recognize that you've responded to the forum prompt until that 30-minute period has passed. So it'll be at least 30 minutes after you post before you'll be able to read the posts of your classmates. So that is that discussion forum for this week. So that gets us down to this item. Also complete the week 1 reflection by Sunday evening, the 12th. Read the introductions of your classmates in the forum and respond to those by the 12th, as well as your replies to your classmate posts in the Developing Guidelines for Class Discussions forum. And then I also ask that you spend a little bit of time reflecting on the material from the week. So your readings, what you have suggested about guidelines, as well as what classmates have suggested about guidelines and that kind of thing. Any discussion that's gone on in that forum to prepare for our discussion in class on Monday. So I'm hoping, I know that there's weather, winter weather in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. Hopefully that'll be cleared up by Monday and we can get to class for a regular class meeting, because I do want us to have an opportunity to talk about some of these things, but I also want to spend a little bit of time talking about a couple of other parts of your grade this semester, your student-led discussion and your project. So at this point in our class area in Moodle, these are the sections that you have access to: the Start Here section, the syllabus section, the week 1 section, but then you also have the student-led discussions and project sections along with the resources sections. I would ask that you go ahead and be looking at the information in this student-led discussions section as well as the project section, just so that we'll all be on the same page as we have that discussion on Monday, and you can ask questions. So after you've read a little bit about these parts of the grade or these requirements, you may have some specific questions. So be sure that you read over all of this information before class on Monday. We'll talk about it a little bit at that point, but you should also be sure to read over the information in the project section as well. So both of these are things that you'll need to submit proposals for, and the proposal dates come up a little bit earlier, of course, than the actual project completion or the student-led discussion. So again, just be sure that you've read through this stuff, and we will talk about it a little bit in class on Monday. So if you have questions as you get into any of this material, feel free to get in touch with me. You can email me, you can call me. My phone number is in the syllabus. If you happen to be on campus for other classes, feel free to drop by and see if you can catch me in my office, and I'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you have. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on Monday and working with you in this class this semester. Take care.